Hello, good evening. This is Hassan Zafar with Political Zone. The United States carried out strikes in Iran this morning, and it appears to be a big gamble. That's how it is being labeled in the American media. It raises several questions. Let me present those questions to you before we move on to discussing these questions with our guest today. Is this a face saving? This is what everybody is talking about. That everybody is on board. The Iranians were told that you remove your nuclear material from these sites, we'll bomb them. It will give us a space saving. So you save your nuclear material, we bomb the sites. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. You can therefore maybe block the Strait of Hormuz for some time, and then we can sit at the negotiating table, and there we can sort things out. So this is one possibility, or maybe one way of looking at it. Number two, who benefits from the escalation and who wants it to end? Which countries want it to stop here, and which countries are interested in taking this war further? Next, what if the Strait of Hormuz is blocked for several days? Let's not forget it's an easy job for the Iranians. The narrowest opening of Strait of Hormuz is only 33 meters wide. And if Iran wants, it can block it anytime, and that can push the oil prices up. The oil prices, I can share with you, are already soaring. The United States, this is oilprices.com, from where I'm reading a few things. Global markets are bracing for impact, with oil prices expected to spike and potential for broader economic consequences as Iran has retaliated with missile strikes on Israel. So this is one possibility. The next question is, what is President Trump's own position in America? Because the opposition voices are saying that he has committed a unconstitutional act by allowing these strikes. Only Congress has the authority to mandate this kind of action in another sovereign country. So that is one thing. And the looming question also is, what is the future of IAEA? Because if their verdict, if the statement of their inspectors and their chiefs that Iran does not possess any nuclear weapons is not enough, if it does not suffice, then what does? So what is the future of IAEA? That also hangs in balance. The other countries may also be tempted to go for acquiring nuclear weapons, because if that is how it looks, that only few countries have the right to possess nuclear weapons, and the result is that if you don't have a nuclear weapon, you stand where Iran is standing today. So this can be an incentive for other countries in the region and in other parts of the world to acquire nuclear weapons. So this also remains to be seen. And last thing, where are countries like big powers like Russia, China are standing? Where is Pakistan standing in relation to what has happened, and where is India standing? India is important because the reports say that at least one B-2 bomber flew from India to strike Iran. We have Simon Sharaf Saab with us. Thank you very much, sir, for joining. I have put these important questions. Whatever is happening is in front of you. The latest update is it's being reported. Iran says US attacks betrayed diplomacy, warns of consequences, which appears to be true. First time they were sitting at the negotiating table, Israel carried out a surprise attack. Next time they were sitting with the Europeans in Geneva, B-2 bombers carried out attacks this morning. So how do you see things developing further?
Thank you very much. Good evening and Assalamu alaikum. Uh, I'll categorize the answers to your questions according to my convenience. The first thing which has become very, very clear is that the entire world is now involved in a very, very muddled strategy. Whether there was a planning of an end game to the strategy, I do not know. But uh, everything is muddled. Whether it's Israel's policy, whether it's Trump's policy, nothing is clear. So the first casualty has been diplomacy. Uh, when first strikes were launched by Israel, Iran was busy with in diplomacy with the United States of America in Oman. And despite those negotiations going on, uh, Israel attacked Iran. So the diplomacy went for a six, and President Trump kept ranting, talk to us, listen to us, uh, remove your weapons, all those sort of antics were going on. Now, when negotiations again began, basically Europe centric, uh, the negotiations were still in progress, and the United States of America has attacked. So this means that diplomacy, which is one of the most effective instruments of policy in international relations, has been hit very hard. It has been relegated. And because diplomacy has been relegated, uh, there is a principle of war laid out by Karl von Clausewitz that war is an instrument of policy. Now, it seems that in this case, neither for Israel nor for the United States of America, war is an instrument of policy. It is war which has a short leash over the policy, and it is leading the way for the policy. It's completely gone topsy turvy. It's in terms of strategy, this is disastrous. So there's no place for diplomacy left. And the lesson learned is that smaller countries who are aspiring to be very independent and who are proud, who challenge the policies of the stronger countries, they have no room for diplomacy. They have no room for international norms and customs and laws of war. Imagine two countries attacking Iran on grounds of controlling proliferation, who themselves are not signatories to the NPT. And
Exactly.
secondly, related to this, the IAEA, the international watchdog, is just a bystander, only adding fuel to fire when it is convenient for them and it suits Israel and United States of America. Because the UN inspectors have spoken much beyond their mandate. They have been giving impressions, not realities. And they are the ones who have visited number of times all the nuclear sites of Iran. Remember, Obama had forged an understanding not very long ago, which has been scuttled by Trump. So uh, even the IAEA is gone down the drain. United Nations is nowhere in sight. So, order which was put in place after the Second World War, diplomacy is gone, international conventions and agreements and watchdogs are gone. United Nations has no say. And add to it the International Court of Justice. The judges have been sanctioned who gave judgments against certain people. So all this means that it's law of fishes, law of the jungle. The big fish eats the smaller fish. The law of the jungle is the mightiest is right. So this
So,
is as
what are
far
we saying,
as
Samson Saab? What are we saying when we say it's law of jungle? Because the kind of order that was created after the Second World War, the establishing of the United Nations and the Security Council and other bodies that regulated the international law, there is no international law. There is just one law. Whoever has the ability and power to strike another nation, that prevails. Everything else does not matter. That is what it
according to
looks like.
our Eastern war philosophy, the war philosophy of the East uses the term law of the fishes. The big fish eat the small fish. This is the law now. It's anarchy, international anarchy, which is probably scripted and well managed to dominate the whole world. And in this entire process, countries, you see, they had a plan. 7 countries were in the list. Iran is the last one. And those 6 countries are already gone. Seventh is under siege right now.
Seventh
This
is
is
under the way.
first part of your very elaborate question. Now coming to the second part, the
Yes,
military strategy. The stealth bombers, the B-2s, flew in from various directions. One straight route is they came through Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea, off the territorial waters of Pakistan towards into the Persian Gulf and hit their targets. But then what about the aircrafts which came from Guam, which is an American base opposite China in the Pacific Ocean? There are news that some aircrafts came from Guam, some came from Montana, and also that some were already pre-placed somewhere in India, not confirmed yet. So they've taken different routes and they have come. There was nothing in the two sites which had been facing hits from Israel for a number of days, and they went and used Tomahawks on them, and then they used their big mother of all bombs, and even beyond that, through the B-2s in the mountains, and they carried out these strikes around the entrances or at the entrances. Now, this lends precedent. In any case, uh, some people did carry out a calculation how much energy is needed to blow off this underground nuclear centrifuge facility, which is a civilian facility. It's not a military facility. It has been listed by inspectors of IAEA, about 80 to 100 meters deep. And then there's a mountain on top. My calculation was 5 kiloton nuclear explosion would not be enough. It's too small.
Hmm, hmm.
Maybe 10
But
kiloton.
it's quite unlikely. It's quite unlikely.
So
What
this
the
bomb
whole thing is
was
that for
thrown.
no site has been destroyed. The let's go back to the first question
No,
for a
let me
minute,
complete.
if you
This
allow. Yes,
this
okay.
this chemical energy bomb, not a nuclear bomb, which was
Hmm.
dropped over there, it did not have the yield to destroy this site. It could not
Apparently,
penetrate so much. So
yes.
uh, this lends precedence to the first theory which you said. Was it prearranged,
Yeah,
preordained,
exactly.
coordinated? Now you have to come back to India, Pakistan. India announced that they will be hitting targets in 9 targets in Pakistan. And they hit buildings, the targets were not there. So everyone in the world, even a man on social in the street who follows the social media, knew that these are the targets they're going to hit, and they've hit those same targets. And except for the reactor, which on which these huge kinetic energy bombs have been used, others had already been emptied and evacuated. And if you recall, I think I sent you a photograph. 14 hours before this attack, the line of trucks outside the site. So it seems probably it was prearranged.
So if it was prearranged, then it appears to be, we can say it was an exit strategy for everybody. The Americans say, oh,
Face saving.
we accomplished the mission. The Israelis get some face saving. Iran gets away with everything that they have. And maybe for their face saving, they can block the Strait of Hormuz for a day or two, and then they can sit at the negotiating table and everybody can sort it out. But at the same time, Salman Saab, I have something interesting to share with you. Look at the way Hezbollah and other players in the region, the so-called Iranian proxies, they are responding to it. In Lebanon, Hezbollah hinted at joining the fight, affirming it will not stand by and watch Iran being attacked. The Lebanese president countered and said Beirut will not join the war. In Iraq, pro-Iranian militias in the Hashid umbrella have shown restlessness, but without taking clear positions so far, issuing generic threats without explaining what they would do. And Iran struck by the US, Pakistan, small political parties aligned with Khamenei and so on. There are reactions from within Pakistan, but the government of Pakistan, by and large, remains silent on the matter, neither here nor there. So that is the kind of situation. In India, public opinion is divided. One side says we stand with Israel, the other side says we stand with Iran. But the Indian government is taking a very clear position. And if, as the reports are suggesting, they have provided military bases to the B-2 bombers, so they are clearly on the offensive side. So how do you see this regional situation?
The regional situation, the Arabs are out, the OIC is out, even Pakistan is out. All these looming crises and everything, and the luncheon meeting. What has happened? Trump said, okay, after the meeting, 2 weeks. So those 2 weeks were also a lie and a deception. And over the weekend, the strikes were launched. I don't see any reactions coming other than some of the irregular militias in Lebanon, in Iraq, though the head of that part of Yemen has come on media and said, we have now declared war on America and we've declared war on Israel. Now, these are various escalations which would roll out in the future. What are the options for Iran now? Because this morning there were strikes as usual. Will the strikes continue only on Israel or on other targets also? There are some people who are suggesting that there's so many American targets in Middle East, some of them should be targeted. It's up to the Iranians to decide. Now they've gone through the parliament, through the rule of law, for a resolution to block the Straits of Hormuz. President Trump has not gone through the parliament, through his Congress. He's taken a unilateral decision. Netanyahu is, most of the decisions he's taking are unilateral decisions. Iranians are following the parliamentary route. They block. For how long they block? They're going to choke up all oil supplies. And with so many oil tankers inside the Persian Gulf stranded and milling around, that area will become a very dangerous place with tankers full of fuel and strikes and everything happening. Now, the escalation depends on Iranians. Tonight, dawn tomorrow, what strikes they carry out, as I know from the chatter which is there on social media and trying to research the type of missiles that Iran has, they have still not used their best weapons. So their still best weapons are still in reserve. Second, who will back them? If they are a firewall, if Iran is a firewall for the interest of China and Russia, where are China and Russia? Okay, we can say that Russia was there in one of the sites which was not attacked. It has not been attacked, neither by Israel nor by USA. And President Putin had made it very clear that his scientists are working over there and they're doing it for peaceful purposes. And no one should, and it has not been attacked. What is China doing? About a country where they have pledged $300 billion of investment and BRI projects and everything. Where are they? In case of Pakistan, a lot of there was a euphoria about the Chinese interdiction systems and satellites and jamming and controlling the radars of Indians and their aircraft and missile shooting down Indian aircrafts and all that. And people were giving credit to China for that. Now, where is that technology in Iran? It's not visible. So, give credit to Pakistan's armed forces. They were trying to take, if China had helped Pakistan in this way, why hasn't it helped Iran, which is facing naked aggression? Now, some questions have
There are some reasons which I think we should allow ourselves to skip for a while. Maybe the way they are looking at things because of the Indian involvement and the way things are moving further. I would not allow myself to go into that direction for a while because the way things are. Two questions I have, Samson.
Hassan, I would still say maybe there's a plan, and that plan has yet not rolled out.
Because this leads us to kind of speculation which is not maybe very well founded at the moment because we don't have any confirmed news and frankly speaking, with a strong on behalf of a strong ally, making such speculations is not a great idea as we are talking now. So, two questions I have. What concessions will Israel be ready to give if the peace talks resume? If Iran is again willing to allow inspection of whatever sites they have, is there a possibility? It may sound really unlikely. Is there a possibility that Israel will ever sign the Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT?
No, they will not.
Okay. So if that is not happening...
In any case, NPT treaty is now for the have-nots. And now, with relation to NPT, even amongst the countries which have gone nuclear, they are haves and have-nots. The haves prevent war and rely more on proxies and economic policies and foreign policy and trade wars and all, as of Russia and China versus United States of America and Europe. But the have-nots, they are being forced to fight conflicts under a nuclear shadow, India and Pakistan, in which Pakistan is the have-not, India is not the have-not. And because they have doubts about Iran, we also have doubts whether they have a nuclear capability or not, and they're striking them that way. So there's a different nuclear strategy for the have-nots, and for the bigger club, there's a different nuclear strategy in force. This is a clear deterrence apartheid, I would say. This is the name I would give it, happening right now in front of our eyes.
Hmm. So, do you see this war ending anytime soon? That's the last question before we go.
Well, initially we thought my assessment was 5 days. 5 days are over. It's not ended.
Hmm.
The
Because there is a call for the UN
chatter
Security Council
chatter from all
meeting now.
the way we get information is it may go for another 15 days or so. I'm not very clear on it because it's not following a plan. It's a complete muddle. We can just make educated guesses. We cannot definitely say what is. Uh, you see, the luncheon meeting in Washington and 2 extra weeks to Iran provided a very big strategic deception.
But speaking of deception, I heard an American analyst saying that deception is a war tactic, and that's what the Americans have employed here. A very
Yes,
interesting way of looking at it.
yeah, it
Yes.
is. It is. Surprise and deception is a principle of war. That's
Yeah.
okay. But
Yeah.
worries us is that our leadership was there.
Hmm. So everything is so murky. That's why, Samson Saab, I am resisting the temptation of raising certain questions. Some unnecessary, maybe they're very unnecessary questions at this stage because we don't know what is actually happening, and so we should allow ourselves as analysts some kind of restraint on our part too, because raising unnecessary questions can really uh, lead to certain speculations that may not be really very good as the things are moving
There are
forward.
certain questions we, as Pakistanis, we need to ask.
Such as,
If it is happening to Iran today, Pakistan will be next. Can't we
okay,
ask this question?
okay, this is a reasonable question to ask. Is that really is that really true?
That's it. What
That's it.
are we going to do to safeguard ourselves?
Hmm.
This is a question.
This is a question. Yes, and where do we stand in all of it? So I think we should leave our audience to think over this question until the next time we meet, and maybe and certainly further developments will have taken
Certainly,
place.
when the fog of war, a time comes when
Yes,
it starts clearing itself.
yes.
Maybe at that point we
Let's
can
hope for the best.
reckon
Let's
on.
hope for the best. Difficult hours and days ahead, and we still hope that some kind of solution is possible to end this war here now. Thank you very much, Samson Sir, for your time.
And I also hope, because our hearts and our minds are with Iran.
Certainly,
Iran is
yeah,
our neighbor. So
yes.
Iran should
And
be able to overcome the crisis and remain strong.
yes, it remains it is totally unjustified in the manner in which these strikes have been carried out on them when they were open to inspections, when they were open to talks, when they were willing to cooperate. It makes no sense. It has no justification. Thank you very much once more. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you.
Pakistan.
Pakistan Zindabad.